Hi guys. My name is Lindsay. If you don't already know that, I started this channel back in April. It started as coronavirus craziness because of coronavirus, and then it moved on to October Madness when October hit because of Halloween, which was really fun. I have a bunch of other videos, but that is not anything that I wanted to talk about today. What I really wanted to talk to you guys, anybody out there who's listening today, was something that is near and dear to my heart and something that I didn't even know I was ever going to talk about. Um, I was, I didn't really consider talking about this subject, but I just finally decided that I wanted to talk about it and talk about my life a little bit. So it sounded a little bit strange as I said it out loud, but what I wanted to talk about was epilepsy. So I have epilepsy, and though it just sounds kind of like a strange thing to say, oh, you have epilepsy, it actually, in fact, does change your life a lot more than you might seem, than you might think it does. Um, so epilepsy and seizures are go hand in hand. So seizures are you see them on TV all the time. People usually have like these big fits of seizures, and that happens a lot. Um, those types of seizures are called grand mal seizures. There are also all different types of seizures, partial seizures, a bunch of other types of ones that are just like kind of hand twitching and things like that. Um, but the grand mal seizures are pretty much the biggies of the world. Now, for me, I'm a little bit of an outside of the box case, and I do have grand mal seizures, but I also have some twitching ones and sometimes some spatial out ones. Haven't had one in a while. Crossing my fingers that I won't have one in the future soon. But the thing about seizures are they are very, they can come on very quickly and they can last for like 5 minutes. Um, they are difficult. Uh, there's some people who are very lucky and they can detect when they're going to have a seizure, but I'm not one of those people. I am one of the people who does not know when I'm going to have a seizure beforehand. And so I don't know when I'm going to have a seizure beforehand. And so I'll just automatically, parts of my mind will go blank. And then I'll wake up and all of a sudden I'll have a massive headache because somebody told me that I had a huge seizure that lasted between 5 and 8 minutes. And that's not very fun. It's really freaking scary. Over the years, I've really gotten used to it almost. I started having seizures when I was 10 years old. Wasn't born with them that I know of. I don't know, possibly I had a few when I was younger and we just didn't recognize them as seizures or something like that. But the first real grand mal seizure that I had was when I was 10 years old. Um, but it really did change my life. It changed pretty much everything that had happened to me. I knew that it was going to be something that was going to kind of determine my future, and even at an early age, with all the testing that they would be doing on me and all these different things and all the different medications. And for anybody out there who may have already been going through this or is going through this right now, I understand what it's like to have to go through tests and to have to take multiple medications and to have to try different multiple medications just to try and find the correct one that's going to work for you, and to have different types of side effects from medications, sometimes side effects that just like make you feel like such a vulnerable person, but you have to make yourself feel strong, or else if you don't, then you will just fall apart. And that's just one thing that makes it seem even harder, but it's what makes us stronger, I feel like any person who is epileptic. Um so many things are different for every person who has epilepsy. I learned that once when I went to a camp for people with epilepsy, that two people with epilepsy are like. We all have our own stories, but we all have um, things that we have in common. Um, I mean, I've had problems. I've gone to the hospital multiple times. I've dislocated my shoulders. I've had surgery. I broke my, not broke, I fractured my collarbone. I My mom thought I broke my nose once, but luckily I didn't. I bit my tongue. There's a lot of different things that happen, and I'm not trying to create a pity party or anything on this. I'm just trying to inform people about the seriousness of what epilepsy is, and the fact that it's not something that should just be thrown away and taken lightly. I think people think, oh, that person has epilepsy. Okay, that's fine, whatever. Or maybe if somebody were to see somebody having a seizure on the street, they should just walk past them and not do anything about it instead of helping them or calling an ambulance. Um, that's the exact wrong thing to do. If you see somebody having a seizure, what you should be doing is you should be helping them. The best way you can help them is by just making sure that they are laying flat, by laying flat so that they're not hurting themselves or anybody around them. You don't put anything in their mouths. That's actually a very common misconception. You don't want to put anything in their mouths. You want to make sure that they're not hurting themselves at all, and you don't want to try and restrain them in any way. The thing is, a seizure just has to just let it go. It just has to happen. There's no way, unless it goes for way too long, unless it goes for longer than 8 to 10 minutes, there's really no way to stop it. Usually if there's a person who has very, very severe seizures that lasts more than 10 minutes, they'll have a type of medication that they have with them that will stop the seizures. Also, you see that sometimes on TV as well. But most seizures, you just have to let that seizure ride out, and it really sucks. I feel lucky that I don't have to see myself having seizures. I just kind of wake up with the people above me. I actually once was at a kickboxing session, and I just all of a sudden woke up, and there were two EMTs, and I was over my face, and I was like, oh man, again? Really? It's just a kickboxing. I paid for this lesson. And then I just had to get put in the ambulance, and it was not fun. And you know what? It's not a fun thing to have. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad for me or make anybody feel bad for other people with epilepsy. I'm just trying to inform anybody out there who might be watching about epilepsy and a little bit maybe about what it's like to live as a person who has epilepsy. A lot of the times people who live with epilepsy either can't drive or if you have a seizure, you have to wait at least 6 months before you're able to drive. I have chosen to not drive, as in never drive. because I have a kind of mixed history on when I have my seizures. I can randomly have them, and it can be very potentially dangerous. Um, though I've gone like a year and a half, I think it is, without having a seizure, I could have one tomorrow. Who knows? I don't know. It could happen. And the thing is, I don't know when I'm going to have it. I don't know beforehand if I'm going to have a seizure. And I would never be able to live with myself if I was driving a car, had a seizure, and ran into somebody and hurt them. I could never live with myself. And so, for that reasoning, I have to say that I mean, like, I have to say that I could never like drive, and it's really terrible, like, but also I would never be able to live myself otherwise. um so with that, it means I rely on family members and also on like Uber and Lyft drives, and that's really hard. It's really hard having to rely on the outside world to get you to places, and to not be able to go places you want to go because of um, things like that, and to not be able to get some jobs because of that. There are a lot of jobs that say you do need a driver's license, and I mean, I have a driver's license because I had one before I had gotten my driver's license, but I've chosen not to drive, and so I don't drive, and I would never drive. So the thing is, I'm just like saying to the world, it's like that is one of the hardest things I think about having epilepsy right now, is the fact that I'm going to know that for the rest of my life, many jobs will be not allowed to me because they require a driver's license, and it's going to be hard because of the range and where like I live and things like that, and just and like getting places. And yeah, that's been really difficult. And for me, that's probably been one of my most hardest things for me in life right now. um but yeah, I guess I could say medication can be really difficult, and I'm sure that any epileptic can say the same thing about that, especially if you get changed for medication, or if you're on multiple medications. Um, but honestly, as long as you take it, I mean, you should be okay. But but I'll tell you, the biggest and the most, I'm gonna have to say now, now that I'm really thinking about it, the most difficult thing in the world is healthcare. I mean, if you think you're a normal person and healthcare is difficult, think about having a pre-existing condition and having healthcare problems. So you have to get your job. You have to have a job. You can't go without a job. And you can't go without healthcare because you have to pay for your medication. And you can't pay for your medication without out of pocket because your medication is really expensive. No matter what type of medication you're on, it's really expensive. And your doctor's appointments, which are usually 6 months apart, are very expensive as well, no matter what. And who knows if you need some sort of extra equipment to help you, or if you have more seizures than what I do. I mean, anything like that, all those things, you need healthcare. And so it's very difficult. And healthcare is just like one of the hardest things, and is one of the most stressful things in my life, I think. But I think that's all I can think about right now. And I think I just wanted to bring it up I don't know why at this time, but I wanted to just bring up kind of my life as an epileptic because it it does it does it does make up part of who I am. It may not define me, it may not make up all of who I am, but it does have a big portion of my life. It does play a big portion of my life. There are a lot of things that are more difficult because of it. Um, but I have a lot of great support, and I don't know what I'd do without the people in my life that I do have because of them. And I just hope that the other people who are out there who have epilepsy also have a great support system and that they know that they're not alone. I hope that maybe more people watch this video than other videos that I've made. I hope people realize that they should treat any person with disabilities with as much respect as they treat a normal human being, because we are normal human beings. Doesn't matter who we are, what we look like, doesn't matter. I just hope that I wish the best for anybody who is going through difficult times, because I know what it's like to go through difficult times. And yeah, I wanted to put my part of my story out there. It's definitely not my full story. My full story is a lot more complicated, but I wanted to actually finally tell part of my story, a big chunk of my life that I had not shared yet. I didn't know if I was ever gonna put out there that I had epilepsy, but I decided to share that part with YouTube and maybe some YouTube video watchers. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you gained some knowledge about epilepsy, and about how it might be to live in the life of an epileptic. There's plenty of videos you can watch. There's plenty of sites that you can go to look up about different things, about what it's like. And there are plenty of other people's stories out there. But thanks, guys. I love you.